Hey everybody, if you're into nostalgia and you're into sports and you love retro video games, you're gonna want to watch this. Trust me, you're gonna want to watch this. What is this? Hey everybody, it's Scott Galaxy here. Thank you so much for joining me again for another episode of the Layman Video Gamer. And today I have a treat. It is a classic retro sports game that helped start a tremendous franchise. And here it is, PGA Tour Golf for the Sega Genesis. Now this is a classic. This game only cost me 99 cents. And to me, I would have paid much more for this. This is like a game that I grew up on. This is what kind of brought me and my Sega Genesis together. This is Madden and NBA Live and the NHL. At any rate, before I get into showing you the game on the big screen behind me, I know it says no signal, but it'll have a signal here shortly. Let me tell you about the game. Again, I spent 99 cents on this. It is complete in box, as you can see here. And this is what I love about the Sega Genesis games. I mean, you could throw it at a wall and it would survive. But the manual's in very good shape. I do have a insert. It's got some stuff on it, but you know, when you're excited, you're playing a game, you spill chocolate milk all over the pamphlet. It happens. God, that could be blood. This is what happens when you cheat on the game. Your brother gets punched in the face and bleeds all over the pamphlet. You just never know. So, without further ado, let's just go pop it in and get a little nostalgic. So here we go. This is PGA Tour Golf for the Sega Genesis, and who doesn't love that old school Electronic Arts intro? And of course, you gotta love that PGA Tour music. You know exactly what that means. So anyway, you see here that the layout is very much a PC-based game. It's an old school PC-based game, which would make sense because it originally came out in 1990 for DOS computers. And it wasn't until 1991 that it was released for the Sega Genesis, the Macintosh, Super Nintendo, and Commodore Amiga, and also for the Sega Master System in 1993, and also Game Gear. So there are a number of options you can see here. So the Sega Genesis version, or the Mega Drive version, features 6 professional golfers that you can play as, or you can use as the computer-controlled opponents. There were Fred Couples, Mark Macumber, Larry Mize, Joey Sindelar, Craig Stadler, and Bruce Leachke. Or, of course, you can create your own player, which I am going to do. Now you also have the option to choose your drivers, your clubs, and then you get to pick from 4 different courses. You can also play a practice round on any of these courses, or you can do a tournament, which, who doesn't love doing tournaments? And let's give TPC Sawgrass a go, see what we can do here with the Players' Championship. And it's a whopping $1.55 million purse. Now, the thing that always got me back in the day when this came out was the flybys. We love the flybys. Anything that looked like some sort of graphical 3D effect, I'm sold, man. I'm sold. And this became kind of a staple for PGA Tour Golf. But it also, a lot of other golf games did this as well. Took it right out of their handbook. And before I tout the gameplay and how easy it is and how fun it is and quite honestly can be a little difficult, you'll see me hit it out here. Yeah, I just hit it out. All right, so now that I'm back on the fairway, I can tell you how good the control is. The control is very good. It's just an easy 3-button procedure. You just hit it to start it, hit it to where you want, how hard you want to hit it, and then try to get it right on that first line to make sure you hit it straight. And I believe, I don't know if there were probably other games that utilize this, but the Electronic Arts edition of golf games, they always had a really good design for the breaks and the greens. And they're pretty accurate. They're quite accurate. So this also had a battery backup. You could save your tournaments, plays, and stats on the cartridge itself. It also tracks your total earnings, so whatever you make, it keeps track of all of that stuff, all your stats. And they really touted the sound effects on this. It's hard to believe, but they have, they really touted the sound effects, like the cheers and the groans and the birds and the splashing water and all that stuff. It just shows you how far we've come. This you can also play up to 4 players. So if you wanted to play a foursome, which I always did with this game, it was just excruciating. Because it really felt like you were playing real golf. And I tell you what, when I played my brother on this one, my older brother, he would always beat me. And that's because he took so long to make his shot. Because he tried to make it perfect. By the time it got to my hand, I just took it and shot it. And that was kind of my downfall. No patience. But you'll see there's a lot of options that you can go to. You can do some overhead setup options. You can do an auto view for greens, fly by hole preview. You can turn those on or off. You can use 2 controllers. There's really a lot of options here. So enough of that. Let's talk about the reception. Now this game really got high marks. This was one of the highest rated games to come out at the time. In fact, the game itself, the DOS version, was rated the 48th best computer game of all time. And in 1994, that same publication, PC Gamer UK, said that, and I quote, "It may be old, but games as good as this deserve a look-in, even 10 years down the line." And I totally agree with that. I still play this game. In fact, it was one of the first 10 games I bought when I started collecting for the Sega Genesis again. And that's it. That is PGA Tour Golf, a classic on the Sega Genesis. So there you have it. That is PGA Tour Golf for the Sega Genesis. It's the one that started it all. It still holds up in my opinion. It's got really good control. You get really good feel. I know it's weird to say that, but you get a really good feel for the game and how hard you should hit it and where you should hit it. I just absolutely love this game. I actually have the entire PGA series on the Sega Genesis, but this is one of my favorites. So I will see you next week on another episode of The Layman Video Gamer. Please keep commenting, subscribing, following me. You can follow me on all this stuff that you're seeing here. Please be sure to do that, and I appreciate everybody that has and continues to support, and we'll see you, like I said, next week. PGA, baby!